Hi, Paul Hefty here with Triangle O Football System. I want to talk about off-season staff engagement process and then getting next season prepared here. We'll talk about why, what, and how to do that, and then some reminders of the system's focus. Let's take a look. All right. First, one of the questions I always get is why is staff engagement important? Again, we know this, but again, it's something that you got to do with your actions. So these are 4 key points I think that support staff engagement. Number one's ownership. Yeah, if your staff doesn't have ownership in the process and the program, then you really don't have a healthy team culture. Meaning you don't want to micromanage things. So we've got to delegate, but we've got to let people have ownership in things that they're confident, they're comfortable with. Number two, conflict is a start to real improvement. So again, we talked about 4 stages that of team dynamics that you go through, where you form, you storm, then where you're trying to figure things out, everybody get on the same page. That's the conflict. But then that leads to start normalizing as a program, and then you eventually start to perform at a high level. So it starts with conflict. Got to embrace that. Number three is honesty. We all talk about having trust. If you really want to motivate people, they got to trust you. So it starts with honesty, and I say it starts with your staff. Number four, then, listening and reflection are the real keys to progress. So it's sometimes your job as a head coach in particular is to solve problems and come up with solutions that we get away from listening and taking time to reflect. So the off season is a great time to do that. Again, if you want to strive for excellence, everyone must be all in, is what I always like to say. So just again, what we're doing here is the natural program progression is year one, you start to form and do things that you want to do. And then you storm a little bit before you normalize because you've got to learn how to do it together if it's new in particular. Maybe you've got new staff, new dynamics. But then key point here is in this off season, you need to come together as a staff and determine not what you want to do, but now what you need to do. And then hopefully that next year with that preparation and engagement, you go right into that normalizing phase and performing at a high level. Then you can really start to focus on your players being your leaders and teaching the old guys, teaching the young guys. And then lastly, we can start to look at evolving where you want the program to go, what do you want it to be. All right, now that we've talked about why and what the engagement process is, let's get to it and talk about how we can start to execute the engagement process. So number one, it starts with the feedback. You got to do some evals, and I encourage you to do written forms so you've got some documentation you can look at, some notes, and that starts the conversation and kind of guides the process. Then we can get to work on these next 3 steps. From there, then you can do step 2, the assessment. We're going to do 2 steps here. Use the feedback from your staff and your players to find themes here, and this can help us have some focus points. Step 2 then really validates some of these themes as you can use analytics from your past season. This is basically taking key statistics that Huddle has shown lead programs for success or winning, and this will help support those themes then. Step 3, engagement. We're going to go with 3 parts here. First thing is the head coach, you must invite the staff. You must let them know you really want them to be part of this engagement process and part of the conversation. I would really encourage you to start with your experienced staff. If you've got former head coaches or coordinators, go there and use that experience. I was fortunate when I was a head football coach at the college level to have 3 retired, highly successful high school and college coaches on my staff, and they really helped me learn how to be a leader and how to get better at what I want to do philosophically. Another key point is if you've got any of your coaches who's got sons or daughters involved in the program, it's key there because again, there's a communication, there's a bond that is unique, and you want to make sure you're part of that process. Step 2, head coach must ask those staff what are their desired roles, what are they comfortable with, what do they want to do, and if you've got some staff that want to progress, you can help them progress in their career too. So ask what, why, and how. Don't assume. And then step 3, head coach has got to listen and confront conflict to evolve. If you get some critical feedback that you really are uncomfortable with, I would say that's actually great, because that starts the process of really improving. And then by listening, we can start that conversation to find solutions together. Step 4 then is now we're going to plan and prep, so you can start to provide a unified vision for your program, and you can start to give clear roles for yourself, for your staff. Again, head football coach and the staff, you need to be open to change here. And the change can be good, because it's the start to success, hopefully. Step 2 then is design and install plan and practice prep for teaching. Again, together you should determine the direction and then set up a plan together, instead of one person designing it and then telling them what to do. Again, that's a simple way to have everybody engaged and involved and have ownership. All right, last then, just some reminders where we started with some triangle system key points and the focus here. Number 1, I always believe it's people versus plays here, people first. So make sure you match your core concepts to fit your best personnel. Again, you want your playmakers to go make plays. Number 2, teaching and learning methods and progression is key. Simple saying, less is more. So we want to minimize the techniques that we're using, and we want to be consistent with our communication. Number 3, balance of inside and outside RPOs. I would say this is one of the more common areas of improvement that's needed from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, is we gotta develop both a core concept inside and outside, and you gotta commit to that. Step 4, balance of your quick pocket and rollout passes. Key here, another common theme is as you start to introduce RPOs, we don't really use the RPO pass unless you have a really talented quarterback. So you've got to use that alerts and use that as your quick passing game. From there, we want to use our sprint out pass game, because it's a great way to, again, beat the blitz, and it's a simple way to scaffold off of our outside zone blocking. Number 5, blitz beaters simplified. Again, that's the key to the RPOs, is there's built-in blitz beaters, cover zeros, cover ones. Use the alert. You've got to use it. And then again, your sprints is a great way to just run away from pressure. And then, as I mentioned in the beginning, screens. It's a great simple way to get your completion percentage up for any quarterback. And again, get the ball to your playmakers in space. And then last, situational thinking and key analytics. You have to determine what are the key analytics for success. And again, it's been proven to be explosive plays, preventing turnovers. So this is where these blitz beaters and this balance is really important with your pass and run. Assess what those are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then develop a plan to practice them so you get game reps in those situations, game situations for your players. Hopefully now this gives you a good idea of the whole engagement process, why it's important, what it's about, but more importantly, give you some ideas of how to go ahead and execute it. Good luck.